ES review for March 29th. Alright, well, what we were looking at this morning, the market opened up was a gap higher out of yesterday's range. So this would be higher out of range. Now we have targets further up. We have this naked VPOC here. We have this, which I believe is a micro composite VPOC. I go to my daily chart, 4163.50. And make this a little bit easier to look at. We see this cluster of RTH days, and it's one thing we pay attention to in the traders lab when we have a cluster of these RTH days, and they're all kind of in the same range. Here's where the volume is, the highest volume is at for all of this stuff. So we have a few things in the way. This could be another obstacle in the way up here, but we still have these two targets. So that's a naked VPOC of this day. This is a micro composite VPOC of this micro composite, this hollow black and gray one. And going to our metrics maestro, and going back to today's chart. And again, what we're looking at is a high out of range day. Got two scenarios in this playbook. And this isn't perfect at all. It's just something that was available in the traders lab that gives you an idea of here's your types of days. You can try to find some alignment if you recognize them. So open with that gap, see, and then it tested down lower. And then it, get my cursor here. And we'll test it on top of this. Test it on top of this whole balance. See, it found support right here, around 32. You can see back, you could draw another line. You could draw a line right around there, kind of see what I'm talking about. That forms a structure. Looks a little bit like support. And then the rest of the day was just kind of where you wanted to get long, and you could see the liquidity and how that was playing out. So here's our scenario. So IBH, IBL, pretty much like everything else. It is broken 97% of the time. IBH favored by only 8%. So it's going to get IBH favored by 8%. That's not very much. Naked VPOC closed 35% of the time, and that was way up higher. Previous mid, 28% of the time. And where's the previous mid? Well, it's not anywhere down here, and we're sitting on top of support. And there wasn't much volume today either. And look at the other high outer range scenario it has. That's where it gaps, kind of tests back down, makes a move here, and comes back down here, and not much happens. See both, but see something we have, both of these are broken 97% of the time. It's saying that your higher probability is just a tiny bit more than having it hit the IBL. And this one, it hit a bunch of previous stuff. And, okay, did that happen? IBL? Did the Navy puck get broken? And where would that have been? That would, yeah, not even close for either one of these. So that kind of shows this IBL lower probability. It would be what I'm seeing about that. And then we go up to here. We have let me refresh this. Economic calendar today. We have some of these lower expected volatility events. We had another talking Fed, pending home sales, those high volatility expected. Crude oil inventories, high volatility expected. Have a variety of medium and low stuff. And here's another medium one. That's 10 a.m. Pacific. So nothing that extreme other than the crude oil pending home sales. And the talking Fed is one of the lower profile guys, not Jerome Powell, so it wasn't as big of a deal. And then what are these other international events? Nothing that's that big of a deal either, just these two events around 7 and 7:30. You have quite a few events happening around that time period. So that's when I would not want to participate when there's any sort of news like this that's on a schedule. And then the rest of it was clear until 10. That gives you plenty of time to potentially find setups you can do. Be out of there. Now I did this trade today. This is Pacific time, and we happen to be talking about it right at the end of Tom B's Trader Lab session, and I've been working on this quite a bit lately. I'm looking at, here's an area with a lot of retail stops. Here's a bid liquidity getting filled with a high volume of sellers going in. So when it came back here, showed a little support, that's when I clicked the button, and my target was up here. So came back down here. I thought, okay, I screwed up. But I was still in it because I'm going, okay, here's, it's a lower volume day, but see, we have this outside edge here, right on the outside edge of this. The higher time frame stuff is pointing towards it's a more likely scenario that would be going up. So I stuck with it. And here's a stop divergence. Not really much going on with icebergs. And at this point I scaled. See this this popped up into there, and you know, I left 2 ticks below the IB high, initial balance high, and this, I think this was off a little bit. I have these cloud notes and they're provided from somebody else's server. I don't think they're as accurate. Or something's going on where it's not going onto my machine properly. But that's not a bad trade. That's not a bad trade. That's a, is that I'm roughly around 41 to 47. So that's, you know, the scale is 3 points. And then from here, 44, 47, that's another 3 points. So that's almost 10 points. Yeah, that's 9 points with the scale. That's a decent day. If I could just pull off one of those a day, I would be just ecstatic. I would be absolutely thrilled if I could make 9 or 10 points a day in the ES on a 2 lot. And that's if you can do that somewhat consistently, you can make a modest living off that, combined with maybe some other work. At this point, I'm thinking, oh, well, with trading, you know, why would I want only one source of income? You know, I want to do trading. I want to do a few other things, and so it's hard to tell how long will it be with trading before it produces a consistent income. And if it can produce partial income, you know, it's okay to have 2 or 3 different jobs as sources of income. And trading can be one of those jobs, and then doing some other things in combination, that's fine. You know, it might take years for it to grow into something where I can produce all of my income off that. And then even if I did, I still might want to do something else in addition, you know, more as a buffer. You know, so that's well, enough about that. Let's go into Bookmap here and see what we're looking at. Okay, so that trade I did, it was right around here, and I was looking, here I'll put a line here. I'll call it 47, whatever it is. But I think it was 47.75 or something. This thing, these little notes, it's kind of annoying because you have to click and drag the thing. Okay, it's 49.75 point, looks like 75. There's no precision in any of this anyway, so it's not that huge of a deal. But I'll move this up a few ticks to there. Oh, it's so annoying. Come on. Okay, there, 47.75. Get rid of this thing. Piece of crap. Okay, this thing does not want to do the thing. Okay, there it is, 47.75. So you've got a little bit of both. I saw this one happening after I did this trade down here, right around 9:59, I think, the Pacific. I saw this was a possibility up here, but you know, this 50 liquidity, you know, that fills. Then I don't want to be. Uh, well, it was more like I was waiting. I wasn't expecting this stop divergence, and this I was expecting it to bounce around off here, you know, come into here a little bit above here. You know, then you got these asks that fill, you know, and then wait for it to come down and then touch it from underneath and then go back down to this cluster of mid and VWAP, VPOC. So it did the move. It just didn't fit what I was really looking at the time because of this liquidity. I figured it could easily go right up into that. You know, I got in right after, right here, and you see that's showing a VPOC. Yeah, I guess it did, but we were still looking at higher time frame. It was looking like it was going up. So that's, you know, on the order flow too. See that we had this order, this big liquidity here like a magnet all day long. Fortunately, this will only go back to 7 for me. Something went on with my data feed and cut me off short. We've got that 40.50, so I'm sitting there going, okay, this really looks like somebody wants to sell here. And I figured could go quite a bit higher. Because look at this, just zigzag, not much going on. You started off, you know, 47.25, 32, not a big range. So I was looking at it, you know, could have tried to come up to here, 73 or something. Not much of a way I could know. Didn't seem unreasonable. You know, that might try to hit last week's high. Or if it came down, because again, how the hell am I going to know? You know, then you know, figured it would come back down here. You know, try to come back to 10. We've got a naked VPOC here at 10 and then 93. This was another support area again with this this volume node here. You got that little volume node there, 83 or so. You got this kind of forming what looks like another support area, like we could be going higher, but it's all just nobody knows. The more I do this, I'm more like, you know, this is it's a lot like gambling, trying to find something, you know, what kind of behavior is more likely to happen than not, and then you stick with that, and you can get your butt kicked, or you can win. And you know, supposedly Bookmap has a beta version of a trading statistics tool that Tom mentioned in the Traders Lab earlier, so pretty excited to see that. Once that comes out, I'll be all on top of that. That's going to be really cool to check out and try. You know, let's look at other moves. You know, you had this Yeah, this IBF trade, that didn't make sense to me. I kind of saw it unfolding, but I was, see, that's more bias, I guess, but it's reading order flow. It's why would it just come back down like that when it didn't fill here? And I'm going, here's a little bit of a stop divergence. Then this number came up. There's 289, there's 295. I figured, hey, there's still more room for this to come up here, ping pong around up here, whatever, come back down here, and then back down here. So this kind of happened abruptly where I didn't see it too well. There's a liquidity fill here, but it's not big. It's a smaller one, and it's right below all this bigger stuff at 50. So I figured, oh, that doesn't look so promising to me until it really touches that. Then other trades, it could go right through it, and we're expecting to go long. I don't know if expecting is the right word, but it seemed more likely than going down. At the time, it did. And looking back at this in hindsight, it's a lot clearer because it already happened, which is useless when you're actually trading because you got to deal with it right then, whatever you have. But there's some more setups in the trader's lab. Look here, stop divergence. You got all these retail stops taken out again. You've got support right here. You got support right there. That's a pretty good, probably down here is a better point to enter because then your stop can be somewhere, maybe down here. Then once it gets here, then you're going to be scaled at that point. It holds right here. Then you still have from 43 to 50, so that's 7 points. Down to here, that's a little more questionable on is it worth it to go from 43 to 47.75. I don't know. If you've got multiple lots, you can pull it off. You're running 2 lot, then I don't know if that makes sense to do that. Depends on what your plan is. Somebody out there probably has a good plan for taking advantage of those. Then we have another, that's IBC. There's IBC, do you get risk neutral? 48, 47.50, 51, I guess that would get you scaled. Probably get taken out here. You'd have another shot at it, but then this liquidity filled, so I'd be like, and the stop divergence, iceberg. But then this one too. So I would kind of be going, okay, maybe it's heading back downstairs. And then, we saw this liquidity up here for a while. It wasn't that big. That's going back most of the day too to 60. And let's see what that is for the day here. So that VPOC ended up being 41.50 for today. So 41. So it's saying for the day it's looking at it being more. Well, it's saying roughly somewhere around here for the day, this area, I guess. But you know, there's plenty of opportunities. Like I was saying, if I could make 9 or 10 points a day, that would be I'd be absolutely thrilled. You know, if you were doing that nearly every day, that could be making 7, 8 grand a month if you take in losses into account. A good part of the time, you're getting that 9, 10 points. You're controlling your risk. I could make a living off that. So I'd be satisfied with it. But I guess I've kind of gone through everything that I really found valuable to do in this video for today. So I'm gonna call it a wrap and get ready for tomorrow. Try to do the best I can tomorrow.